Hey guys, today we're going to do section 4, which is on fitting exponential models to data. So we've already done a few sections in our book that talk about fitting models to data. We did it with quadratics, remember when we did our quadratic regression, and we've also done it with linear functions when we talked about best line of fit. So we're going to do the same thing today. It's just for exponential models, and if you remember, these lessons are really easy because you can just basically do it all on your calculator. So we're going to use the EXP-REG capabilities of your graphing calculator to help you answer the following questions. The first one, we've got a pharmaceutical company is testing a new anesthetic. They injected 14 milligrams of the anesthetic into the bloodstream of a laboratory rat and then monitored the level of the drug every hour. The results are below. So these are our results from our experiment. First thing we're going to do is draw a scatter plot of these data on the grid at the right. So I'm just going to go through and I'm going to graph each point. Okay, so 0, 14, 1, 9.3. Okay, so that is my scatter plot for this graph. Okay, part B, let L be the level of anesthetic and T be the time. Fit an exponential model to these data. So if I want to fit an exponential model to these data, I'm going to use my calculator. I'm going to start by going to Stat and then Edit, and you should get to your list 1 and your list 2. So this is the screen that you want to be at. Then for list 1, we want to type in the time. So we're going to have time be our x values. So I'm going to type in 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, then for my L2, I'm going to type in my actual anesthetics. So 14, 9.38, etc., etc. Okay, then when I have all my data points typed in, I'm going to hit Stat. I'm going to go arrow over to Calc. I'm going to go down to EXP-REG, which is, I believe, number 10. Okay, so it looks like this. Then you're just going to hit Enter, and hit Enter again. And it'll pop up with your equation. So it says that your initial value is 13.997. We can just round that to 14 because we know that our initial value is actually 14. And then our B value is 0.67. So when I write that equation, I'm going to have 14 times 0.67 to the x. Okay. Then it says use your model to find the level of anesthetic after 12 hours. Well, if I'm going to use that model and I want to figure out what happened after 12 hours, I can just plug in a 12. So if I do that on my calculator, I get 0.1146. So that's how much would be left after 12 hours. Alright, complete the column 3 below, decade growth factor, which shows the population of a city in intervals from 1870 to 1950. So I want to complete this table. Basically what I'm looking at here is I've got the years, I've got the populations, and I want to figure out how much I'm growing by per decade, and then I want to figure out how much I'm actually growing by per year using the fact that I know that a decade is 10 years and I can take the 10th root of that. Okay, so basically I'm just going to have you figure out what's going on in the table here. So this would just be my year divided by my previous year. for everything, and then whatever number you get here, you take the 10th root of it to figure out this. So after filling that table in, these are the values that I get. And it says the first decade growth factor of 1.421 indicates a 42.1% population increase from 1870 to 1880. But you wanted to figure out an approximate annual growth factor from 1870 to 1880 to complete column 3. So assuming our population is growing at an exponential rate, we can let B be the annual growth factor. This means that B to the 10th is the decade growth factor, which means if we take the 10th root of B to the 10th, we would get B, which is our annual growth factor. Okay, notice that your homework is a little bit different tonight. So for the homework, we want to find a set of data that could be modeled with an exponential function. Some possibilities are population increase, half-lives, etc. Your data set must have at least 10 data points in it. Create a Google spreadsheet with your data in the table and a scatter plot of your data. Find an exponential model for your data and a linear model for your data. Then use each different model to extrapolate values outside of your data set and talk about whether or not you think these values are realistic and why. So remember that extrapolate means that we're talking about values that are not within our given range, meaning that they might be something that doesn't actually make sense. So we need to talk about whether it actually makes sense for the set of data that you're using. Okay, that's everything. Thank you.